Well, hey, life groups, I'm so glad that you've gathered tonight. I know that you're in for some incredible God-centered conversation. And this week in church, we were talking about uncommon thinking. We were talking about the mindset, and your mindset is the way that you have set your mind, and the way that you've set your mind, it's all to do with your attitude and the way that you think, and it helps you navigate life. And for some of us, our thinking is wrong. Our mindset is wired wrong. And God gave us a mind and He gave us an imagination, but we have to harness it and we have to train it, because things grow in the imagination, right? And whether we neglect it or we look after it, things are still going to grow. I likened it to a garden, remember, so you can either grow good thoughts, because whatever seeds you plant in your life, in your mind, are going to show up in your life. So you can plant good thoughts and positivity and things from the Word of God, and it's going to reap a harvest in your life. Or you can sow thoughts of negativity or greed or lust or jealousy or any of those things, and they are going to take your life down a route that you do not want to be living. Verse 13, where the children of Israel just got to the promised land, and how 12 spies went into the promised land, and 10 came back with a negative report and 2 came back with a positive report. You see, the land of promise, the land of Canaan, it was everything that God said. What God said would be there was there, but there was also something else there that God had not said would be there, because they discovered there were giants in the land. And the giants became a problem for the Israelites, because now they began to doubt that they'd really heard from God, and they began to doubt that they could really go and possess what God had said was theirs. They allowed disbelief to enter into their mind, and that disbelief began to grow bigger and bigger until they talked themselves out of going in to the promise of God. And they went back to wilderness living. They walked away and they went back to living, which is the normal way of living. It's the normal way of life. The point that we were illustrating was there will always be giants between you and your promised land. And whatever that means to you, your promised land, maybe you desire peace in your life and you've not been able to have peace, true peace, for a long time. Maybe it's strength and you need strengthening. Maybe it's in a relationship, the area of in a relationship, and God has promised that His hand of blessing will be on that relationship, but right now it looks so far removed from the truth. Or maybe it's your children, but we all have different versions of a promised land experience that God has promised to us. But there will be giants between you and your promised land. So you've got to determine in your heart that I'm going to fight the giant to take hold of what God has for me. The problem with the Israelites is they were comparing the size of themselves. They said, we are like grasshoppers. And what they did is they made a presumption, because they looked at the size of the giant and compared it to the size of themselves, when they should have been looking at the size of the giant and comparing it to the size of their God. And you and I, we do exactly the same thing. We look at the problem and we make a presumption. I'm never going to get around it, never going to get through it, never going to get out of it. And does God even know about it? Giants are not a problem to Him. He's only ever going to talk to you about the promise and the good things. So there will always be giants between you and your promised land. And you get to choose, just like the children of Israel got to choose, how you think about what you see. 2 of them led a new generation in, and they fought the giants and they lived in the promises of God. I don't know about you. I don't want to be the person that He is all about the goodness of God and He is all about the things and the promises that God has for me. I want the spirit of Joshua and Caleb that says, let's go and possess it now. Today is the day that I'm going to walk into my victory. Today is the day that I'm going to take that giant down.